The new generation Volvo XC90, we drive the T8 hybrid and the D5 diesel. And all the fun and all the action from the India Bike Week in Goa.
So you've already had a glimpse of this monster. It's the all-new XC90, the new generation of the car from Volvo. Welcome to the program. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Patnankar. We are in Spain, a few miles outside of Barcelona, to bring you the review of this car. Before I jump into it, I want to quickly tell you that the reason it becomes so important for the company is because it's the first product coming off of that scalable product architecture, or SPA as Volvo likes to call it. So, has Volvo been able to really deliver on everything that it really needs to? Let's get into the car and find out. The second generation Volvo XC90 came after a long gap, 12 years since the first gen was launched. Given that delay, or the time taken, Volvo certainly had to get it right. And at the very top, let me say, it has. And for me, this is primarily because the XC90 is not like its rivals. It has character, definition and a specific identity, and in the cluttered marketplace we operate in, that is a job very well done by the Swedish car maker. I have the car that matters to us in India. The D5 variant, finished in the luminous sand metallic paintwork. The car I will be driving has the Momentum trim, which will be the lower of two variants on offer in India. We will show you the top-end inscription trim later on the show. We also showed you the way that the new XC90 looks at its global debut in August last year in Stockholm. The car looks good, great proportions on the side, good height and yet not stretched looking. This despite the fact that it has 3 rows of seating. The XC90 sports the face of Volvo's new design direction with that impressive grille that houses the iron mark and the striking all-LED headlights. The daytime running lights are T-shaped, and yes, that is representative of Thor's hammer from Swedish mythology. The rear has the typical vertical Volvo taillight, but with added flair and a very wide hatch door. Perhaps the least attractive side of an otherwise great design, so it's no surprise it's shortlisted for Design of the Year at the World Car Awards. The car looks good on the move too, with an upright yet agile quality. Most SUVs, especially in the premium end of the market, are trying to be really sporty. There's this whole focus on power and performance. On the XC90, it's almost refreshing that that's not the big play from the company. It's all the functionality. It could be a family car, it's the space, it's the ease of use. I'm glad in a sense because that's refreshing. But what I will say is that when it comes to overall ride and handling, the new active suspension is definitely an improvement. It gives you a great ride quality, a great ride comfort as well. Seating position, that's the other thing which I can tell has been paid a lot of attention to, because I've got just the right kind of position here, a nice commanding view of the road, really great visibility in fact from this position. Nice adjustment of the steering as well, and overall I feel nicely in control. So nice, yes, it has a lot of those words popping in. And I can tell you that it's this kind of thing that's going to be perhaps the differentiator. It will make a difference because users, not just buyers, but users will notice this. But given that, there has to be a word on that engine. Volvo has chosen to only have 2-litre 4-cylinder engines in the entire range, so no V6 or V8 monsters here, folks. The rivals do have them, but the question is a valid one. Do you really need a 6 or 8-cylinder SUV, and do you need it every day? Now the D5 in particular is not trying to be sporty at all, because this engine has a fair amount of grunt to it. It's a familiar unit. We know this block, but it's been completely retuned. Let's take a look at the numbers now, and you can see that of course the numbers themselves look fairly healthy. But you know, like I said, the focus isn't on just that output and just the torque. The torque itself is very ample. You feel that. It's a very smooth delivery of that torque as well that you get when you're driving, especially on the highway. It is inside the cabin that the XC90 really scores big. The interiors look fresh, roomy, welcoming and very modern. The whole essence of understated Scandinavian design really comes through beautifully. Volvo decided to do away with the many buttons of the past, and the central console now only has 8 buttons below the screen. The main focus is on this, the iPad-like touchscreen control panel of the Sensus system. The home screen is divided into 4 horizontal zones: navigation, music, phone and sound experience. Each of these tabs can be expanded by simply touching it. You can also horizontally slide to 2 other screens, one for the car's controls and driver assistance features, and the other for connectivity options. Just below the screen there is a button which brings you back to the home screen. The system is very intuitive and extremely user-friendly. The top-end variants have the Bowers & Wilkins 19-speaker system, and you have the option to replicate the sound ambience of the Gothenburg Concert Hall. Quite impressive. The XC90 has 4-corner active air suspension as optional. This not only provides great ride comfort, but lets you switch the chassis into 4 different drive modes. It also allows you to lower the car's height for easy loading of cargo or easier ingress and egress for passengers too. On this car, you've got functionality that seems to have been paid a lot of attention to, and so whether it's the car's own features like you know, the lane change assist or the blind spot or head-up display adjustment, I can just reach across to this screen right here, and one quick flip to the left, I've got all of them there. It's a quick glance. I don't really need to take my eyes off the road, and on and off, it's got a little green light that comes on and off, so to speak, and so you know that that function is now activated. Very easy to use. It's the same thing with the Sensus system overall, in fact, because I think the Sensus is what's going to be the big USP, the big game changer for Volvo. It integrates with Apple CarPlay. It also has the Android functionality that's coming very soon, and of course it hooks up to all your devices really easily, so you can access your information. You can use voice commands as well. The car I'm driving right now doesn't have that activated, but I'm told that it's been done in a way where you can actually use regular phrases, just talk to the car like you talk normally. That is what's going to be the big game changer, especially in markets like the United States, where of course Volvo wants big volumes. The car's climate control system has a clean zone filter which actively screens the air coming into the car and thereby protecting you from pollutants, emissions, pollen and dust. Again, very impressive, especially in the Indian context. So that clean zone air conditioning, the Sensus system and that big screen are massive USPs. Besides that is the space and the sense of it. The third row sits at the same height as the second and is a very ample and comfortable seat, unlike the rivals. The panoramic sunroof will be standard on the Indian car, and later models will also have electric folding down functions on those rear seats to create a flatbed for more cargo. It's a Volvo, so the focus on safety features is obvious, and so this car is studded with a whole lot of them. There are updates on what you've seen before from Volvo itself: adaptive cruise control, blind spot warning, and of course the city safety functionality, which is now operational up to the speed of 50 kilometers per hour, unlike 30 kilometers per hour in the past. It works in the city traffic as well, and so it gives you emergency braking in case somebody comes in your way. Alright, so that's the stuff that you've seen before. Other things have been added in, like lane keeping assist, which is a little digital camera mounted in the front that keeps you in your lane, in the sense that if the car senses that you're drifting out of your lane, well, all it does is that it gently nudges you back in. So the car steers itself, and there you go. I don't have my hands on the wheel now, and it's pretty much doing it for me. A little bit creepy, but a good safety feature, because it kind of, like I said, if you're drifting off, getting a little sleepy or tired, it keeps you in check. Now, the bad news. None of this is going to be on the car that comes to India. Well, it'll be on the car, but it will not be activated because it is standard equipment. So it'll be in there, but the software won't be activated, because in India, we cannot have radar frequency being used by automakers. It's a government thing, and unfortunately, unless that legislation changes, none of this can actually come in, because now all these systems are guided by a radar control, unlike the past where they used to use 3 or 4 different types of things. There was radar, there was laser guided, and of course digital camera guided controls. Now all of this is operated using the radar sensor, and which is why in India, unless the legislation changes, we're not going to have any of this working. So it's pretty much academic information for you at this point.
So that is a pity. But the car has a run-off road feature which stabilizes your spine and cushions any impact to the back in case you have to suddenly take the car off the tarmac, or it does so in a high-speed traffic situation. The car's structure uses more high-strength boron steel than the previous XC90s, a conscious decision from Volvo not to go all aluminium like the rivals are doing in the interest of safety. Overall though, the car is still 200 kilograms lighter than before. And do I even have to tell you, it has 7 airbags?
So of course I promised to bring you the T8. That's coming up in just a short while on the program. While I've been here with the XC90, Ronak Shah has been in Goa because you had the India Bike Week. Lots to celebrate over there as well, because it's not just the one brand anymore. There's a whole lot of brands that showed up and lots of different announcements. All the details on the IBW.
From expectations to exhilaration. From solo riders to brotherhood. And from music to madness. These are just some of the words to describe the country's biggest biking festival, that is India Bike Week. Now in its 3rd year, India Bike Week was once again held on the sandy beaches under the grueling sun in Goa. Yet the heat didn't dampen the bikers' resolve, with over 8,000 participants roaring in their mean machines. There was lots and lots of biking action on display, and here's our top 5 moments from this year's India Bike Week. India Bike Week has largely been dominated by Harley-Davidson so far, and this year too there was more reason to celebrate as the company completed 5 years in the country. Over 8,000 bikes have been sold in India so far, out of which 2,000 rode into India Bike Week to celebrate the company's success.
Well, we continue to expand our dealer network across the country. Today we have 17 showrooms all over, pan-India. We intend to open about 4 to 5 more this year.
Triumph Motorcycles, along with Rajputana Customs, unveiled a new customized classic-looking Bonneville, but didn't just stop there. It also unveiled its new Tigers, the adventure touring bikes XCX and XRX. For those who remember, we have already featured them on the Car and Bike Show. These bikes will launch in India in about a month's time. Next on our list is not from a motorcycle company, but from Italian scooter company Piaggio, showcasing the Vespa Super and the Vespa GTS 300. The The company is exploring a manufacturing unit for scooters in India and is also looking to launch an all-new value-for-money scooter brand to India in 2016.
Apart from Vespa, there are other segments, other brands that we want to bring here to India. And we see that the superbike segment is getting bigger and bigger. And so the idea is that we will have to be also a part of it. And we want to come soon. We are working on that.
Now the biggest surprise here at IBW has been from DSK Benelli, unveiling not 1 or 2 but 8 new products, out of which 5 will be launched next month. And last but certainly not the least, we would have liked the organizers to encourage the participants to wear riding gear and helmets. To see so many riders of premium brands riding without helmets was a disappointing sight. We hope next time at IBW, safety is given the #1 priority.
So that was all the action from the Bike Week. Now I have promised you the range-topping variant of the XC90, the T8, which is the hybrid. That's coming up after a very short break. Stay tuned to CNB. Hi folks, and welcome back to CNB. Now I promised you that I will have the T8 variant of the XC90 for you. So as promised, it's right here with me. Now a disclaimer right up front, we're still not sure if Volvo will indeed launch this version in India or not. The reason I say that is because, well, we're not sure the Indian market really needs this variant as much as it does the D5. But having said that, it forms the flagship of the range globally, and so from a bragging rights point of view, from a differentiating point of view, it kind of makes sense for at least Volvo to keep it under consideration for our market, and which is why, of course, we have to show it to you.
The range-topping XC90 is the T8, and the car with me now is in the Inscription Trim 2, and the dead giveaway is the front grille finished in satin silver, unlike the piano black you saw on the Momentum trim on the diesel earlier in the show. This one also has 20-inch wheels. The T8 is Volvo's new plug-in hybrid. The petrol unit is the 2-litre 4-cylinder engine also found on the lower T6 variant, which is not a hybrid. This engine sports Volvo's new twin-engine technology, which means a supercharger takes care of the bottom end of the power range, while a turbocharger gives you extra boost in the higher rev range. It is coupled to a 60 kilowatt electrical motor that makes 240 Nm of torque. So combined figures for the hybrid system are a whopping 400 bhp and 640 Nm of torque. Whoa! This makes the T8 one of the most fuel-efficient SUVs ever, and despite it having a 4-cylinder engine, it can rival the likes of the Mercedes-Benz GL 550 or even a Porsche Cayenne.
Now, unlike most of the plug-in hybrids that we've driven before, of course, it's not very relevant from our market point of view, but I can tell you that there are a few things that are different about this one. I'm not going to talk about the power delivery or the combined output. Those are figures you'll get to see in just a bit. But what's nice is that you've got this drive mode toggle switch down here, and you just go straight into it. The minute you start to sort of get in there, the screen changes to that. You've got all-wheel drive mode, you've got save and charge battery for later mode. That's something very different and unique. Then of course there's the pure eco drive, which is just driving on battery power. The hybrid, which is the everyday use, which is pretty much what most people will end up using, where the car decides where to split the power. And then you've got the sporty driving power mode, which is where you get the extra power, and which means you stay on the gasoline engine for the longer time. So it's nice. It's also very intuitive and user-friendly to access, and it's been done in a nice way. So I like that. Good interface and good use of trying to understand how the hybrid power can really be used differently by different users.
And that also means that the car can deliver very different kinds of performance to suit every kind of user. The car has terrific grip on the road. The all-wheel drive system works very well in conjunction with that adaptive suspension we spoke about earlier. And the extra weight of the battery in the central tunnel and the power coming from both ends of the chassis provides controlled yet exhilarating performance. Volvo India is considering bringing in the T8 variant as a flagship model with no intention to sell huge volumes. And that may happen in 2015 itself. Next year, you can also expect the kinetic trim that may not have as many goodies on board, won't have the hybrid engine either, but could be priced to rival the Q5, ML Class and X3.
It's a wrap here on CNB. I hope you enjoyed the program. As always, keep your feedback coming. Please tell us what you'd like to see on the show as well. And please wear your seatbelts, please wear your helmets. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.